What's going on, guys? Charles Weinraub AKA the Handsome Homebuyer, Long Island's #1 fix and flip investor. And on this week's educational vlog, we're going a little outside the box here. Again, a lot of you guys know me for trudging around in sweatshirts, sweatpants, cappy houses, dust, just garbage everywhere. But believe it or not, I have a great appreciation for fashion, and my one bougie thing, as you guys all know, my mom still does my laundry. I live in this 1-bedroom apartment. I basically don't own anything that's not real estate related, doesn't make me money. But my one kind of guilty bougie pleasure is a beautiful bespoke custom suit. And I actually spent 5 years searching all over New York, because what you think is actually bespoke is not. And I found this gentleman, Eric Jensen of Sartoria Gallo, NYC, who's a true artist, professional, bespoke custom tailor. Sir?
Good to see you.
Great seeing you again. Thank you for those 2 beautiful suits.
Yeah.
I wore one this weekend.
Love
I
it.
looked fantastic.
That's all I ask.
It's like a second skin. It's like armor.
Yeah.
And when you walk into some place wearing something like that, literally,
Your confidence goes up, right?
and heads turn.
Oh, do they? That's awesome.
You don't really appreciate it until you put it on and you realize whatever you've been wearing off the rack, regardless of how expensive it was, just isn't on the level.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah.
So I want everybody in the real estate community, because listen, the real estate community is known for wearing bad suits. I love all you guys and girls, I really do. But again, they're bunched up, the shoulders are huge. I mean, it's terrible. So I want everybody to really understand, different types of suits and why what you do is so different and how it comes together and is made.
Yeah. So we'll start at the beginning. Does that work?
Yeah.
So grab that behind you. So this is a paper pattern. You can see that says Charles's lovely name right there.
There we go.
Yeah, and that's when we met, 2020.
There you go.
About a year ago.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, this is his pattern. It's all completely his. Everyone's pattern is completely different. We make them all by scratch per person. And it has even notes on it. So I've got things like you're low on your right. You're also low on your right at your neck. So that's your shoulders.
Yep.
It's different. You got sloped shoulders. So we start with your pattern. We lay that down on the cloth. We cut it by hand. So we chalk it out by hand, cut it by hand. And then once we've done that, it comes in looking like this. So this is a fitting. This is actually the shell of the suit, and it gives me the ability to put it on the client and rip it apart while it's on the client, so I can adjust things while he's wearing it. Because I can look at you and I can say, oh, you've got these things about you and your body's like this, your body's like X, Y, Z. But the cloth is gonna tell me more. It's gonna tell me exactly what's wrong and how much needs to be taken out or let out or taken in or blah, blah, blah. So when I do that, I'll put it on you and I'll rip like the shoulder, I'll adjust the shoulder, do great, get the balance right. You can also see the handwork that we do. So this is our horsehair canvas here. These black stitches are all handmade stitches. And we do that is we roll the canvas and we stitch it at the same time to create a chest. So when the client's not in it, it sits out. So you can see that there's a chest there. And the more that the client wears it, the more that the horsehair canvas is gonna learn the chest.
Yeah.
So the coat gets better over time. After I do this, I break it all, we take it all apart, and I make the adjustments that are necessary. And then I put it all back together again, and we do this again to do a second fitting. Because I'll always want at least 2, especially on your first time, because I'll think I've got everything right, but I want to ensure it. So we'll do the second fitting, we'll be happy, and I'll send it off to Rome. Our master tailors in Rome will make up the coat completely, so it'll look like this guy. So we're pretty much done. The only thing that's not there are the buttonholes, and we still have some of these white stitches just to keep everything in place before we do it completely finished. We'll do a final fitting like this, make sure everything looks nice, and then I'll cut and make your buttonholes. I still make everyone's buttonholes here by myself.
That's your final kind of
That's my final
touch.
thing, yeah. So once I get an apprentice or 2, someone else will be making the buttonholes, but until now, then it's me. Each buttonhole takes about 15-20 minutes, except for the lapel. The lapel buttonhole takes about 30.
Yeah, so literally every part of the suit is, you said 90% is done by hand.
Yeah, done by hand. The only places where we use a machine is in your pockets, because you need strength, your darts, because you need strength there, and then your back seam and your side seams. And that's it. So
everything is 100% custom inside of these things.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The fitting, it's like when you put something like this on, the back fits perfectly.
Yeah, because
every
every man has a small at the back, And for the most part, suits off the rack don't realize this, but we have curves, you know, just like women have curves, we just have them in different places. So you want to accentuate or show those things off because it gives the silhouette a more pleasing eye. It's kind of like the difference between a Ferrari and a Volkswagen Bug, you know. So most suits off the rack make you look like a Volkswagen Bug. It's our job to make you kind of look more like a Ferrari, even if you aren't, like me. So yeah, because I'm a tube. Like this is one of my mysteries. So always tell me I'm a tree trunk. So you have to build that aesthetic in. So you build the chest a little fuller, so you can take the waist in and give it a little more hip.
So it's a little bit of false advertising.
It's way false advertising.
But on the same time, if women have been doing it for generations, it's okay if we do it as well.
Exactly.
There are different types of suits in the sense that there's a couple of things I want to go over. Let's go over lapels first. So people understand.
Yeah, well, so lapels you can do notch or peak. I always do a lapel that's going to be more time, like expand what's the word I'm looking for?
Stand the test of time.
Stand the test of time. Thanks, man. So I never go too big or too small on them. You always want to break up the coat in a nice, pleasing manner. So usually somewhere halfway in between the chest and the break. The other thing that you really can tell of a bespoke suit is this right here. This is a lapel roll. You don't get those on off-the-rack suits.
Yeah.
We actually hand stitch a bunch of stitches inside there, so you can kind of see these divots. I don't know if you can, but that's hand stitched all the way in there, the canvas and the cloth together, so that when the lapel goes down, it rolls like a beautiful wave.
Yeah, when you put the suit on, like when I put the suit on without butting it, it comes together on its own.
And that's the other thing.
Like
that's
it doesn't
all about,
just drop like a normal suit.
So that's all about balance.
Yeah.
So what you want is a perfectly balanced suit. So when the client is standing at its normal, at his normal, which no one stands the same, like nobody stands the same. So you want the suit to be completely balanced so that it comes together even without a button on it. And that's how you know it's perfectly cut. If it's flares away or scissors, that means your balance is off. So your front and back balance. Because like, this is probably a lot of information, but like most people stand either like this hunched or like this erect.
Because of cell phones.
Yeah,
mostly like this.
Yeah, most like that.
Yes.
So you have to balance the suit to do that. So if the guy stands perfectly normal, then you need the same length from front to back. If he's stooped, you need less here and more there. And if he's erect, you need less there and more there.
Yeah, so it's truly custom for a person.
Custom for the person. And everything depends on your shoulders and how you stand. So that's your balancing point. So you basically balance the suit off of that balancing point.
So what we discussed before, a lot of people are going out there and they think that they're getting like the word bespoke is thrown around in a way that it really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And you're pretty much one of the only, if not the only people around there that are doing that, especially in the Italian style.
Oh yeah.
So how can people, like I know the canvas is floating, how can people kind of walk up to and do like, are there any kind of quick tests where they could see like, you know, is this a bespoke suit, is it not?
Yeah, so the main thing you're gonna look at is the way that it fits on the client, on the person. If it fits like trash, it probably wasn't a bespoke suit. If it fits where it's pleasing to the eye and something about that suit, regardless of the cloth, makes you go, whoa, that's a really beautiful suit, it's probably bespoke. Other things you can look for is, like I said, the divots back here. If you can see divots back here, little tiny divots, then it's bespoke because they put that handwork into there. Other things you can look for, usually your buttonholes, if they look handmade, they're usually bespoke. You can finally do a test where you grab the back of the coat and the cloth, and if you can pull the cloth away from the actual canvas inside, that's a floating canvas, so that's probably bespoke. Small other things like, I don't know if you guys can see, but see those little pick stitching dots there? That's a sign of bespoke, like the linings put in by hand.
Yeah.
So that's a sign. The other thing is, you know when you see an off-the-rack suit and you see these little divots all around the side there?
Yeah.
So that's a pick stitch done by a machine. So if you see them indented like that, that means a machine did it, and it's definitely not bespoke. But if you see the little dots and there's no divots, like this one, that means it's done by hand. Because only a hand can pull that stitch at the perfect amount of pressure to give it the strength it needs to hold that, but not become a divot.
So there's different styles, like there's the traditional, like there's English, when people talk about Salvo Row, there's American, and then there's Italian, but there's different, there's Northern and Southern Italian also?
Yeah, so there's Northern.
Am I talking out of place
no,
here?
No,
do I know what I'm talking
you're
about?
Right on.
All right, a lot of YouTube videos, man.
Yeah, so there's 3 ranges of suits, basically. Okay. Rome gets the least amount of kind of not acceptance, but knowledge about it because we're not as flashy as the other 2. So the northern Italy is going to be Milan. Milan's going to be more built up, kind of closer to an English suit. So a little more canvas in there, a little more strength in the shoulders, shoulder pads most likely, things like that. So you see a more built up suit, more, we call it a Carabinieri, which is our kind of military police in Italy. Okay. So we call it that Carabinieri look. Then you have southern Italy, like Napoli. So Napoli gets a lot of attention as well. And it's usually a little more sprezzatura, for lack of a better word. It's a little more devil-may-care. It's a little more, you know, there's problems with the suit, but we like it because it looks like it was hands-made. Yeah. So there's these defects. The effetto is the difetto. Mm-hmm. So you'll get that kind of look. So you'll get a lot more kind of folds in the sleeve head. You'll get a lot more kind of breaking in the lapels and things like that. Then there's Rome. So basically Maestro Gallo came from southern Italy and trained under a southern Italian in Rome. And he found all those great things about southern Italy, the suits that way. They're soft, they're like second skin. Mm-hmm. We don't put a lot of stuff in them. We let the suit be the expression. But then Gallo realized that he's got to make suits for people who actually go to work, or people in Rome who actually are the seat of power. So he took everything that's beautiful about the Napolitan suit and kind of just made it a little more palpable for someone who has to go stand in a boardroom. Mm-hmm. So you get a soft, easy to wear, simple suit. At the same time, it's luxurious, it's well made, and there's attention to the craftsmanship and the detail. So it's those things that I think really make a Roman suit kind of the best suit, because it's everything perfect about a Napoli suit, and that softness, that easy to wear, that sweater, the second skin, but it's just put more attention to detail. So like even our spalla camicia, which I don't know if anybody knows what spalla camicia is, but it's a shirt sleeve shoulder. Mm-hmm. Our shirt sleeve shoulders are more kept. They're not as foldy and they're not as rumply and as wild. So it's just kind of one of those things.
So I want to kind of close out with the trousers, because there's if you could
I'll grab
those to show people. When you first put them on, it's a little bit challenging, and you're kind of like thinking to yourself, like, why do I need all this? But, and we kind of had a little kind of back and forth, but again, ultimately, I never want to stunt anyone's creativity, whether it be yours, Levy's, anybody. I'm like, I just go with you.
Yeah.
So if you could...
when you're going to a tailor, especially if it's your first time, listen to your tailor, because he's never going to do something that's going to steer you wrong. He's always going to try and have your best fit, your best idea, your best way of living in his mind. So we usually always put pleats in our trousers. I know that's kind of a bad word nowadays, but in 2 years you're gonna watch this video and you're gonna go, hey, pleats are cool now. I guarantee you are.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Because they're coming back. We always put them in just because they're gonna add an element of comfort to the client. We don't cut a full trouser, so it's not a big trouser, but the pleat just allows that expansion of the cloth to go with your expansion of your muscles. So when you sit down, your muscles contract. When they contract, they expand, and when they expand, they need somewhere to go. If you don't have somewhere to go with your cloth, because cloth doesn't expand and contract, it's just gonna hold you in like a stuffed sausage. So this just gives you just a little bit of room. I also think they're beautiful, and they add just a little bit of beauty to the trouser. We also do a button fly. This is negotiable, but most of the time I'm gonna fight you on it.
Is anything really negotiable with you? I know you say it, but at the end of the day, it's really not.
It's negotiable as long as I get my way. So we do a button fly as well. We do this thing called a Pancharina, or a tira la pancia, which basically means to hold your gut in. So this piece right here on your trouser actually keeps the pressure off the front of the trouser and puts it in the back here. You'll never see it, but it just kind of keeps you in. It also keeps your shirt tucked in and allows you an easy escape patch when you need to go to the bathroom, as you can tell, while keeping your trousers up. And then you're talking about this button right here, right?
This is the torture button.
Yeah.
This is the one button where it's like...
So this button goes into the waistband. Here, Levy, I'll show you. It goes into the waistband like that and just holds. And that also takes pressure off the front of the trouser and allows you to keep everything clean and nice in the front. So that's our trousers.
Yeah. Side adjusters.
And then side adjusters.
No belts.
No belts. 99.9% of the time we don't put belts in our trousers, mostly because they're ugly. And secondly, because when you start the day, you weigh yourself. I'm sure you weigh yourself often, right? If you weigh yourself in the morning, you're like, ooh,
I wake up, I look at myself like, By the time I go to bed, I'm like, I look horrible. What the hell happened?
Yeah. So your body has to process what you do with it during the day, and during the day you put food into it. That food's got to go somewhere until your body can process it. And usually process it overnight. So in the morning you're X weight, in the evening you're Y weight. Well, if your belt's on, your mass has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So it's just pushing up against that belt. So you guys, I'm sure, will all know by after lunch, that belt becomes almost like a torture device.
Yeah.
And I hate it. So we rarely ever put them in. We put these things in, which are side adjusters. And these side adjusters go here, not up there. So most of the time you would buy pants off the rack, they're up here.
Yes.
So they go down here at the seam. And you can pull them to tighten your waistband, or you can loosen them to loosen your waistband. And that, so that you're not always coming to me and go, can you let these out like an eighth of an inch? Can you take these in an eighth of an inch? Now you can do that here. So that just helps.
Talk to people about what height the trousers should sit at, because that's a big thing, especially like, I mean, I grew up, I'm 42, I grew up with the whole low-waisted craze.
Yeah. Well, that's how people cut denim. So like when you cut denim, you cut them at low-waisted. And I don't know why they started cutting denim at low-waisted, but they did, and everyone bought into it. And nowadays, everyone wears denim. So we all think everything should fit, feel, and act like denim.
Yeah.
If you ask me, denim is probably the worst fabric in the entire history of man that ever came up with. Because it's hot in the summer, and it's freezing in the winter.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do any good in that case. And it's also restrictive, and it's also a little encumbersome. So wool is actually a great fabric because it's actually cool in the summer and warm in the winter, depending on your weights and stuff like that. The other thing about it is when you buy denim and they're cut at the waist or at the hip, you can put a t-shirt or a sweater over it and you don't know that you have your trousers or your denim at your waist. If you have your trousers at your waist and you tuck your shirt or your sweater in, you look like a giant torso with tiny little legs running around.
Yes.
So you look really odd, okay? So where a trouser is actually supposed to sit is at your waist. Everyone says it's high-waisted, the trousers that I cut, but they're actually waisted. They sit at your waist.
Yeah.
And that allows you to break you up in a manner that's pleasing, especially someone who's shorter, like you are. It breaks you up in a, we can cut that. It breaks you up in a manner where you're not long torso and tiny little legs. It actually breaks you up where you look like you're longer and taller because you have these longer legs. Yeah. And it's actually sitting at your waist. So it's a waisted trouser. The other thing about that is when you sit down, it's actually more comfortable because you're not pushing against your hips. You're actually just sitting right where your waist is, and that's actually where you're above where your bend is when you sit down as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I put the suit on this weekend, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know. Normally I have a much longer looking torso. It just made sense. It was comfortable. It was beautiful. I got a ton of compliments. People were like, whoa. So I mean, and again, everything's 100% custom with you guys.
Yeah.
You also do custom shirts as well.
Yeah. So we do shirts. We now make ties as well. So we got a little lady in Cuomo,
there you
Lago
go.
di Como, who actually makes our ties. These are actually exceptional and beautiful. Our shirts are all handmade as well in Napoli. So we have our shirt maker out of Napoli. We do an entire pattern for the client. The other thing that we do is, for the most part, we'll make you a sample shirt. Because shirts are very, very personable. It's your first layer of defense. It's your first layer against your skin. And everyone thinks that they want their shirt to be like suctioned and fit like beauty. And then you sit down and you're like, I'm gonna bust a button open, or my chest, I can't move, things like that. So we make you a sample shirt because it's so personable. I can fit you in the mirror and I'll be like, that's a great fitting shirt. But you'll live in it and you'll go, like if I only could just have a little bit more room or less room or XYZ. So we can make you a personal shirt. You do wear that sample shirt for like 2 weeks, and then you come back and report to us, and then we make the adjustments on your pattern, and then we'll make your actual shirts.
So you know what, the one thing that really stood out to me on the shirts, I mean, the shirts fit beautiful. I have a bunch of them. The buttons.
Oh,
the buttons are like, you go to the store, you buy a shirt. It's got like these thin little plastic buttons. They're always snapping every once in a while. These buttons are like ready for battle.
So they're a big, nice, full mother of pearl. And the reason we do that for 2 reasons. One, that's a symbol of a Napolitan shirt. So if you have a little thin, crappy button, it definitely wasn't made in Napoli, and it probably wasn't made by hand. It might have been English, actually. But we like these nice, full mother of pearls. They also don't crack easily. So you'll notice if you have a mother of pearl button that's small, and you send it to a dry cleaner, even a really great one, you'll end up cracking some buttons because they just crack. These ones don't. So they're heavy duty, they're strong, they have more presence as well. I think they're gorgeous. And even our buttonholes on our dress shirts are all done by hand as well. So like all these, all done by hand.
It's amazing. Again, if you are somebody who needs to see, if you're in the real estate world, if you are a realtor, loan officer, again, if you're out there in a suit every day, I'm not saying you have to go and get a dozen of these, but at least one for that special occasion. It will just make you look and feel on a level that I can't even begin to explain. So, Mr. Jensen.
Dude, it's always awesome.
Really appreciate it. Sartoria Gallo, NYC on Madison Avenue. We're gonna put all the information down in the comments section. Definitely come check him out. It's a great experience, once in a lifetime.